evening, ABW. Tonight I have with me Kate. I always never know which way to point. Kate Hennessey Bowers over there with me, who I have actually met in person. Often I do these interviews and I've never even met the person, but we did meet online, didn't we?
We did.
And this was back in like February, and I saw you post about how you were writing a book, and I was like, I want you to come into my group. And you're like, oh, but I haven't written it yet. And then Andrea and I came up to an event that you did was that in March? It was, wasn't it, for International Women's Day? So 6 months on, you have written the book, you have launched the book. It's called Give Me Strength. Tell us about your book.
I've not got it in my hand. I don't know why I've not got it in my hand. So the book is a guide for mainly women. It works exactly the same for men, but my target audience really is women. I know my clients generally are women who have got themselves
Sorry, that was you coming on my phone.
It's okay, don't worry. In that cycle of yo-yo dieting, so on, off, the extremes really, and being able to find an approach to that is very much person-centered, very much a holistic approach. So taking on board mental health, sort of mindset, and digging that bit deeper in there as well. But also looking at exercise and nutrition. And I'm a personal trainer as well, I'm qualified in nutrition. So I'm sort of coming at it from a scientific perspective, but also being able to go, hold on a minute, what is, how can we make this about you? So get rid of the dogma, get rid of the religion of sort of the diet industry, and actually going, what do you need? What do you want? And making it
so bespoke to each person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really then. So book in all of us, but what was it that the time is now is when I'm going to do? What was your trigger point?
So I'm sure this probably is true for lots of people. I literally got to a point of like burnout is the phrase that a lot of people use in my previous business. So my previous business, I would say about this time last year, I was hitting burnout and I was just exhausted. And I came to the conclusion that actually it wasn't, I was just kind of chasing something that I didn't really want. And I needed to take time away from that. And at the time I was running 3 businesses, but the main business, I wasn't feeling it. So
wasn't resonating.
No, not at all. Even though I fully believe in it, and I absolutely, it gave me such an amazing start to the whole journey of mindfulness, meditation, positivity, that really kick-started that for me. But I needed to just take some time away, step back and go, what actually, who am I and what is it that I'm passionate about?
From all 3 businesses or just the one business?
Just the one. The other 2. So the other 2 businesses were, I run a property management business. So I'm still doing that. And it's very ad hoc, it's fantastic. It's just personal and my dad's properties basically. So I'm that just as and when we need to. So that, and I love that. I love anything to do with property and particularly demolishing things. Love a good bit of DIY. And then my other business was personal training and fitness classes, and obviously they're still very much some part of what I do, and I'm really passionate about. So still doing that. But yeah, I just needed to take some time to find out what.
And that's a brave thing to do as well, actually taking time out and going, I'm going to reassess what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah, huge. Because
did you have a reaction from people? Sorry.
Yeah, massive. Because I'm like quite a stubborn person, and so it feels like defeat. I'm one of those people who I never give up, never see it through to the end. But actually, it wasn't like there was. it wasn't, I had to just admit that this wasn't giving up. This was me recognizing I'm not playing to my natural strengths here. I need to, realign and make sure that what I'm doing ties in. And actually, and I suppose this is where the book is specifically for health, but actually, as you probably know very well, your core values and your core beliefs need to underpin everything you do. And so actually stepping back and saying, what are my core beliefs? What are my core values? And does this meet that? It really wasn't at the time. So I just needed to make sure that I was taking a pathway that was.
So how does your life compare now to where it was a year, 18 months ago?
Oh, just so much happier. So much more.
Really?
I feel like I'm managing things better because I know where I'm going. I know the flow, and I know that each micro decision is tying in and sort of really underpinned by those values.
And do you find now, because you're in that flow and you're so much, that it's had the knock-on effect to those around you as well?
Yeah, that's always an interesting one because I think it takes a bit longer depending on the people, really. So if you were talking,
she says, looking around.
Yeah, well, that's it. If you're talking about clients, massively, and then I think your friendships start to really come into alignment, don't they, with that, and whether that's the universe or whether that's like the law of attraction, whatever you call that, or whether you're on that radar where the conversations you're having are just with people who are also in that space. Whatever it is, I do feel like that's much more aligned now as well. So yeah, it feels more natural. I can't hear you, Claire, at all. You've frozen on my screen and I'm just getting a little bit of it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no,
Am I
I've
back?
got you. Yeah, you're back.
Okay. The question was, if I stop, you carry on. Okay? So I'm just going to sit here and not say anything. No.
just watch it.
Do people say that they've seen a change in you?
Yeah, massively.
Which is amazing. I mean, that itself is a testament, isn't it?
Yeah, hugely. I mean, and strangely, most people that I don't know as well will obviously make reference more to my health, my energy, that kind of thing, which is what they're getting a snippet of, I suppose. And obviously then it's been difficult though. It's been really difficult for family members, if I'm really honest.
In what way?
So for me to kind of recognize who I am and what my purpose, or all those sorts of things, and actually identifying traits within myself that I realize were holding me back. You've got to dig back. You've got to go back further and work out, well, for me, it's been a lot of coping mechanisms that worked well for me as a 4-year-old that just, I've carried along with me and are not working well for a 33-year-old.
But acknowledging that and accepting it,
huge. Yeah,
it's massive.
Yeah, it's been huge for me. But it has been difficult for certain family members because it's meant that. So, for example, I don't know if I shared this with you, Claire, yet, but I have on my blog. I was diagnosed with ADHD about 3 months ago. So it was in June.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm a bit of a I'm curious about everything in life. So it was kind of a curiosity path for me. I just wanted to know. I wanted to know what that pathway looked like. I wanted to know what the inside of mental health looked like. It held no bearing on the direction I would go forward necessarily, but I wanted to know whether I was right or not in my thinking. And it did play a big part in me understanding why I felt the way I felt when I was 8, 9, 10, and obviously as a teenager. But you open doors there, don't you? It's like you've opened up Pandora's box, and not everything that comes out of that box is going to be pretty.
No, but there are some pretty things coming up for you, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is what I'm so excited for you about. because you've only just taught. So going back a few steps, you used to work in schools. You used to be a teacher.
Yeah. Started off as a
What
teacher.
age?
Primary, yeah. So I started in early years, teaching assistant, and then went on to be like a higher level teaching assistant. So I was delivering lessons and did that for about 5 years, and then qualified as a teacher through the GTP, and then taught for 7 years. So
so the new doors that have been opened to you, which are as a result of the book, or
pretty much as a result of the book, and that that doorway being open, really. Totally randomly got invited by people towards the end of the summer term into school. So old friends or friends of friends, but teachers sort of saying, oh, we're doing this for Wellbeing Week, or we're doing, could you come in and do a session? And it's just been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, I only managed to squeeze in a bit in July. And then September's chocker, but again, I've got events scheduled in for end of September and early October, going into schools and doing wellbeing workshops with kids. So it's sort of come full circle, and I'm really, really loving the direction that it's going in.
Yeah, and did you not mention that you're having meetings with somebody about curriculum?
Yeah, so, and again, that's come kind of from two angles, really. So it's kind of made me want to take a look at the book and do like a kids version, because strangely, again, the two of the categories that the book came #1 bestseller in were young people. So it was like well-being for young people and mindfulness for young people, and it did really well in those categories. So I'm thinking now that maybe I need to do like a spin-off book and looking at sort of well-being and a holistic view of health with the curriculum in mind. And then also a group of mums, myself and a group of mums, are at the moment attempting to open a free school. So
yes, now this is something you're really passionate about.
Really passionate about that, yeah. And it's not that I'm not, I love the school that I taught in. I love the school that my little girl does. She does go to mainstream school now, because I love early years. I love the way that early years works. It's like, if you're not familiar with early years, it is very much child-centered, and just the setup is just phenomenal. And there's lots of reflection of child psychology, the modern child psychology. It really underpins the way that early years works. Whereas mainstream, it's kind of there's lots of token gestures to it, but there's not generally, the schools I've worked in, it's not really been the core of what the curriculum looks like in primary. So we're trying to set up a free school that's kind of got more use of the outdoor space, looks a lot more like early years, but with obviously older and more relevant objectives, but being very much child-centered. So yeah,
talk
that's
about
kind of
use of the outdoor space. The early years in Japan, where they built the circular building. So it's for early years, and this guy, and basically the classroom is outdoors, and it's two tiers, but it's in a circle, because all little children want to do is run around in circles.
Yeah,
that's all they want to do.
Totally.
And so they do have classrooms within the building, but they don't have doors on them, so it's just like shelter from the rain more than anything. So have a look for that. It's amazing. Slightly digressing.
No, but I think that's it. Purpose built. It's sort of people stepping back and going, okay, what actually do kids need?
Works?
What do they want? And what works really well? Let's start again with a completely new model of what it would look like in the ideal world. And I think as a teacher, probably like 6 years ago, pre-kids, I was saying all the time, like, if you could reinvent the curriculum, what would it look like? If you could reinvent the way education looked, what would it look like? And I love kind of...
just the fact that you're having these conversations, it's the beginning of the change.
Yes.
I mean, all the mindfulness people I know are trying to get it into schools.
Yes.
And some schools are a lot more accepting than others. And even if it's just working with the teachers and not the children at first, it is a massive, all I can describe it is like a massive wave, a massive push in that direction.
Shift in consciousness, isn't it? It's a massive shift in consciousness and questioning. And actually that comes from children. You don't need to work hard with kids to get them to question. That is what they do, and they do naturally.
They do.
Yeah, so it's really exciting.
You've also got something else under your sleeve, haven't you? I did a video for you not long ago.
Yes.
That was for...
Yes. So my other, it's basically, I've set up a site where what I want to do is share the conscious shift in entrepreneurship. So just literally sharing people's platform, sharing other people's businesses, sharing women. It's completely gender neutral, but sharing people's businesses, but from a kind of I'm always I'm not wary of the word spirituality, because I would say I'm massively more spiritual than I was, say, 12 months ago. But then if 12 months ago someone had said to me, would you consider yourself a spiritual person? I'd have probably been a little bit like put off by that, which was just my ignorance at the time. But I think lots of people are using the phrase awoken, being awoken to spirituality, I suppose, and whatever you want to call that, and whether you see it from a scientific angle or a psychological angle, whatever, that's fine. But I also wanted to share people's sort of take on that and how that has underpinned the growth within their business. So yeah, I've set up a platform. It's also an e-commerce site, so it's an opportunity to share little things, tools and techniques that people are using, and also courses. So if people are delivering courses, it's a way to get those shared. And it's just...
Is it launched yet?
It isn't. No, not yet.
Okay. So you don't want me to share what it's called?
No, you can share what it's called because people can look out for it then. But it isn't quite ready just yet. I just want to make sure I've got a good content there to give it a good one at.
So remind me what it's called.
www.awokenboss.com.
awokenboss.com.
So I want to get lots and lots of people sharing on there. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend who you may have come across. I don't know, Katie Halliwell. Do you know Katie Spirits and White Feathers?
No, I don't think so, no.
Or the founder of. And she sort of said to me, she gave me lots of advice. It was absolutely amazing. And there was one thing that she'd said to me that I've been doing for a while anyway, but kind of doing it subconsciously. And that was just creating a platform for other people to share their businesses through, and kind of just networking really, but with a spiritual angle. So, she just confirmed what I'd already sort of been thinking. So that's what Awoken Boss is.
Messages from the universe.
Yeah, that's it. Eyes
There's
wide
your
open.
sign. Needed to go. Yeah, exactly. Anything else going off in your life? I mean, I love busy people. It makes me feel normal.
Totally. So is
that everything?
We're just starting the plans for International Women's Day 2019. Because we need a good run at it. So if anybody, yourself, anybody...
Yes, because last year you turned it around really quickly, didn't you?
Quickly. It's crazy. It was insane. I think it was, I will honestly say it's the hardest thing I've ever done compared to the book. Anything else is the hardest thing I've ever done.
But you pulled it off.
I pulled it off and it was a massive success, huge success.
It really was.
It was great fun, a really fun night as well. And we were just
it was great
again. So this year we've got a committee sort of doing it that way, so that like everybody's got their bit to do.
It's not just you.
Yeah. And Crew Hall, the venue that we used last year, have offered us a room again, but a different room, just to give that little bit of variation to people. If they've been before, they're going to get something different. And it's one of the very old rooms in Crew Hall. It's really, really pretty. So if you're on the
because it's quite a modern room last year, wasn't it?
It was like a conference room, whereas this is the long gallery, so it's like the long hall.
Oh, okay.
You know, like one of those.
Yeah.
I want to say Tudor, clearly not Tudor. It's got to be later than Tudor.
I know what you mean. Long Hall did it. You didn't.
Yeah.
That was a good explanation.
Elizabethan, maybe. I don't know. I'm like ashamed of my lack of knowledge around
some kind of historical hall.
Yeah, a very pretty one.
Harry Potter-esque.
Very Harry Potter. Ooh, ideas, themes, maybe. Yeah.
There you go. I'll let you have that one for free.
Yeah.
No, you have got loads on. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And we'll be in touch, no doubt.
Excellent.
This is how collaborations happen, ladies, if you're watching. Don't be afraid to contact people who you don't know, because you just never know where it's going to take you.
Exactly. And
I did make the first move.
That is so true. You end up with friends for life as well. I think that people sometimes, where you can feel really isolated in business, and the entrepreneurial journey is a path that a lot of people don't know why you would take that path. So in terms of like the real world, as in physical face-to-face conversations, it can feel really, really lonely, can't it?
And sometimes you don't even want to get into the conversation because you preempt their...
Yeah, it's just going to be like, oh, why don't you just get a job?
Son says things like, wait, well, not so much now, but it used to be like, why don't you have a job?
Yeah. I can't.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I just go to that tree in the garden and pluck off that money.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It's just a different path, isn't it? And it is so nice to make these connections, not just because of the people you can introduce to each other and the things, but also just to be able to have that conversation with someone who totally gets what you're on about.
Yeah. And that's why I've got a group full of ladies like that, because they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for tuning in. Tara, I can see that you've just come online. You need to go back about 10, 12 minutes, because that's the bit where I think Kate began talking about the thing that you do. And Kate, I want Tara to get in touch with you.
That'd be amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
So I shall leave that in your hands, ladies.
Collaboration. Oh, thank you. Thank you
no
so
worries.
much.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
See ya. Bye.